तुम्हाला त्रास काय आहे? Does he have any vertigo bacillus symptom?
Yes.
What symptoms he has?
So he has favorable pulse.
नाही, that is the clinical finding, history wise. तुम्हाला त्रास काय आहे? तुम्ही दवाखान्यात कशासाठी होते? डोळ्याने नव्हते दिसत. कोणत्या डोळ्याने? उजव्या डोळ्याने. आणि कधी दिसणं बंद झालं? हा, अचानक बंद झालं. ओके. So he says he has lost. आता दिसतं का पण डोळ्याने? अच्छा, he has sudden loss of vision during lockdown period, and then he came to the hospital for treatment, and then doctor found that the radial pulse on the right side is feeble. Sorry. So we again change our settings to presets carotid, so that we see it better. The machines have made our life very easy, and the presets, if you get them adjusted with the application specialist, you can see everything. So we'll just screen his carotid because he is saying he has loss of vision. So on B mode looks clean. In launch also there is bit intimal thickening here, and this is the bulb region. I will just make it more so that it is seen on the screen nicely. This is the bifurcation. I'll put a that is carotid, this is bulb, and getting bifurcated. This is external, this is internal. Not seen very nicely because it is going deep, so we will adjust the focus little bit if we can see it better. No, so we will go back and try to see in long section. This is common carotid. We are going up, and this is the bifurcation. You can see many times the carotid bifurcation is not seen in one plane, so you can maneuver the probe little bit and see it. We'll directly sample the common carotid before bifurcation and increase the sample volume size. This is 2.5 millimeters now. Ensure before sampling that the color settings are okay. What you are seeing is there is lamellar flow, there is good filling across, the complete vessel is filling, and then what we are doing a spectral sampling here. The spectral sampling so mix pattern little bit doubtful, spectral broadening, will keep that in mind and see his external and internal carotids. So this is the bifurcation, this is the external carotid. Not seeing nicely. We'll try to change the steering and try to see whether we can see it. I'll increase the gain to see the vessel. Yes, we have got the external carotid. We'll steer again more. So this is the external carotid artery. We'll try to see the sample it here. Again reduce the sample volume, get back to 1.5 millimeter and let's sample it here. Or you can sample it here also. Keeping the probe steady helps you a lot. See again the external carotid, how is the flow. Can see there is doubtful spectral broadening. I don't know why. So we come to the internal carotid. This is internal. This was external. I just moved my probe laterally so that this you can see the internal carotid. That is carotid bulb. That is the internal carotid, and we'll try to see if there is any abnormality in the internal carotid. And try to see in transverse section what is happening, foot color, and what do you see? What do you see here? Yes, students are behind me. Can you see anything? The internal is not filling completely. If you can appreciate this, this is external carotid, this much is internal carotid, and this is not filling completely. That is the first impression that there is something in the internal carotid. And I will try to see in a long section. And yes, there is some flow. Will increase the PRF. Try to see what is there. And now finally for the flow we will do a spectral assessment. So till this point, this bifurcation, you are seeing very good flow, but if you go to the internal carotid, again what you are seeing here is, what is this? We'll invert the Doppler. We see again, as we had seen in the other patient. Remember that patient had acute thrombus in the right carotid. Here also I have a doubt here whether this patient has got internal carotid occlusion, complete occlusion, because this is very stump flow if you see it. We'll confirm again. We'll do little bit maneuvering here and try to see the lumen of the internal carotid in a better fashion. Sometimes in a thick patient, the patient who has got bulkier neck, it becomes difficult to see the internal carotid. So if you cannot see anything, just take a convex probe and try to see the internal carotid. You may not be able to quantify the flow nicely, but at least you can demonstrate whether it is patent or not, and we'll do that. We have a convex probe here. Okay. So apparently on seeing this image we have a doubt. Patient has a history, so we need to confirm. See, the artery is pulsatile here. The artery is pulsatile here. Okay. The external carotid is pulsatile here. We had seen their doubtful broadening. When the doubt came when we saw the common carotid, when we saw the external carotid. So we'll try to see the internal carotid again and try to see whether it is pulsatile or not. If you see this is the internal carotid. These are the transmitted pulsations, but this artery is not pulsatile. Can you see this? This artery is not pulsatile, and I'll put color here. Try to extract whether you can get information from that vessel. I'll reduce the color PRF, increase the gain. No. So there is no flow. So that validates our doubt which we had raised in the while at the beginning of the examination. So asking history is always helpful. It can give you where in it, which part of the examination you are going to concentrate, you are going to seek information. So we'll just quickly come back what was happening here in the common carotid artery. See the pattern of flow. You don't expect this pattern of flow. There is little bit rapid down as well as little bit spectral widening. Complete spectral filling is there. Even if you do a Q scan, even if you reduce this color gain, there is something. Second doubt came when we did the external carotid evaluation, and what it show, this external carotid artery showed us the flow is increased. It is more than 120 centimeter per second, and you don't expect such type of flow. So this is little bit a chronic occlusion of internal carotid artery, and external carotid has taken up the thing. So one thing we have forgotten, we have not evaluated his vertebral artery yet. So I will try to see the internal carotid. With a convex probe. You need little bit maneuvering, magnify the B mode image, get your focus maximum so that you can image the vessel, angle the probe, reduce the box. So this is artery or this is artery. See this is red, flow coming towards me is red, so this is coming from the brain. Here is brain, here is the heart. This is coming from brain, so this is venous flow, and this flow is going away. This is a arterial flow. So we will just set our color settings so that we know this. We can appreciate flow at this much settings. Can reduce scale little bit, and then we go to the distal artery. We go to the bulb region, and we try to see the internal carotid. We'll see in transverse. We'll see in transverse. This is probably the external carotid. It becomes difficult to see because the area is very wide when you do through a convex probe. So that is the artery. And it is showing flow. So our perception was wrong. Probably. We'll try to sample here. So this is external carotid and this is the internal carotid. So whatever we have perceived, that was wrong, and we can see it very nicely. That is the use of convex probe. We may not be able to quantify, but we can see the vessel, see the vessel. So though the patient has blindness on the ipsilateral side, the artery is patent, and all our doubts were right or wrong. All our doubts were wrong. Okay. So coming back to upper limb evaluation. We take the linear probe again, go to the artery setting, and we will see the finished with the vertebral artery evaluation. Whenever the patient comes for feeble pulsation, you can just see the here invert. This is carotid, flow is coming towards me, and see this. I think that is vertebral artery. You can appreciate, and this is common carotid artery. So this common carotid artery, the flow is blue. Check it again. This blue coming towards me, so this is carotid. Okay, pulsatile flow seen, settings are okay. Now I am taking the probe laterally, and what do you see? The vertebral artery is showing the reversal of flow. Right, again this blue, vertebral red, and the jugular and the vertebral, they are showing same direction of flow. So this is a reversal in vertebral artery. There has to be, this is a steal. So why this steal phenomena is there, we will check out. So that is the importance of seeing vertebral artery in a carotid Doppler. We can quantify this. This was our carotid artery, normal flow, and this is the vertebral artery. The direction is simply reverse. There are various types of vertebral steal described. So whenever you see a vertebral artery, I will just tell you within 2 minutes, then we will go further. So we check on the other side. This is carotid, that is the vertebral artery. I'll adjust the scale. Adjust the baseline. So this vertebral artery will always show us unidirectional flow. The flow pattern may be different if it is a dominant, non-dominant, but it will never show a reversal of flow, or the systole would be very clean. I'll show it again. We invert here, try to see in better. We'll sample here. See this. The spectrum is very clean. There is no notching sort of thing. The notching you had seen in common carotid, notching we see in external carotid, high resistance flow. So there is no notching. Any appearance of notching in the vertebral artery, if you see any mid-systolic notch, if there is a mid-systolic deep and again it is coming back, if this is coming to the baseline and coming back, or this is going reversal and coming back, everything is abnormal. You must evaluate the subclavian artery flow, proximal, distal, and you should do a upper limb Doppler. So while doing carotid Doppler and assessing the vertebral artery, if there is some systolic deep somewhere, there are various grades of steel described. There are 3 to 4 grades. And this is, we will come back to the right side. If you see this is totally on the other side. This is a complete steel. I think I have made it clear. The example I had shown you, that in that example there was a subclavian stenosis, so there was some antegrade flow coming, and due to that the complete steel was not there. So we will see why there is complete steel in this patient. So again, common carotid, transverse section, B mode, adjust the setting, go down and try to see here. This is the bifurcation. You come in the transverse plane, make the probe oblique, and you can see this bifurcation. And yes, what do you see here? Visibly there is something in the lumen. So there is something in the lumen. So that is the silent thing that has produced all these changes. So how do you confirm what changes it is making to the circulation? We will see this. This is the origin of both common carotid and subclavian artery, and here you can see I will just reduce the PRF so that if there is a little bit flow we can pick up, increase the gain, whether we can see anything across, not significant. What else we can do? What if we can change the steering to get some weird flow there? No, that part is not showing flow. We'll try steering to other side, this side. Why I am doing this? Because the stenosis usually are irregular and the flow can go in any direction. So in such cases, when you are not seeing any flow, we are doing same thing when we have done that acute thrombus patient. You try to maneuver, try to see by doing steering, adjusting the color scale, increasing the color gain, whether you can appreciate any flow. But no, that part is not showing any flow in any of the maneuver. So my settings are quite low. I will reduce them further, but this has bled everything. You are not seeing anything here. So we come back, still nothing is seen. Now what is here? This is the subclavian artery and that is the vertebral. So vertebral is feeding the subclavian artery. I will make a long section here. That is the vertebral artery, and due to the vertebral artery still, this subclavian is getting filled. Yes. Now it is showing antegrade flow. My color scale is blue towards me, blue towards the probe. So this is showing the color gain. Now we'll adjust and try to see what is there. So triphasicity is lost. PSV is quite okay. 70, 75. But there is a spectral broadening. There is little bit turbulence in the peak. The peak is not single. There is little bit broadening of the peak, broadening of the spectrum. There is continuous forward flow. There is diastolic flow, because all this blood is coming from the vertebral artery to the.
So there was a question regarding spectral filling and spectral broadening. What is the difference?
I will just explain in some time. So we'll just screen fast distal arteries, same flow. This is spectral broadening. Can you see spectral broadening? What we had seen in a normal artery. In a normal artery, the peak is sharp. There is rapid fall. In a peripheral artery I am talking about, upper limb or lower limb. And this width is very low. Because of the peripheral resistance, the flow very fast comes back to normal. So this is very sharp, and it's like a very narrow V, you can say. This has become a U here. You can see this is attaining peak slowly and it is decelerating slowly. So this thing has widened. So this is spectral widening. Okay. Coming back to next question is spectral filling. Spectral filling in a peripheral artery, all blood is pumped from the heart. So almost most of the blood has got same velocity, particularly in the center and mid part of the vessel. All the RBCs, they attain one speed rapidly and they come back to normal rapidly. So that is homogeneity in attaining speed and acceleration and deceleration. In that case, what you see is the clear spectrum. But here what has happened, because there is hemodynamic turbulence, because the flow is coming from vertebral into the subclavian, their velocities have changed, their hemodynamics have changed, and the RBCs have different velocities. They are not, all of them are not attaining the peak systolic velocity. Some are here, some are here, some are here. So the spectrum is getting filled. So that is a difference. If you see this filling of spectrum in a peripheral vessel, you can consider it as abnormal. So we'll just quickly do his brachial artery. That is the brachial artery at the forearm. We'll check this. I'm not seeing good flow. We'll reduce the PRF little bit so that I can see it better. This is better. Vein is also seen. So the flow has reduced further. Okay, continuous forward flow. So we can do sampling of radial and ulnar also and mention in our report that what is happening to them. I think we will move with the next case.
So there was a question regarding how to measure stenosis and how, whether it is to be done in a transverse section or a longitudinal section.
Yeah, stenosis stenosis should always be measured in the longitudinal section basically, because the longitudinal section gives you more idea about how the blood goes, how the flow pattern is going down.